Hey,
Good morning.
hello.
I am.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How'd it go this week?
Oh, not too bad. Always still, trying to drum in the word. It doesn't always stick, but yeah.
That reminds me of studying with Kellen.
Uh,
It doesn't necessarily stick with me, but it sticks with him a lot easier.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So I did a little bit earlier in the week, and then I kind of reviewed, a little bit last night, but it's funny. It's still the same words. It's like, oh, well, okay. One of these days, enough repetition, it'll stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it in particular you're
Um,
trying to stick?
well, like the words for vow and pledge was also obligation, I think, wasn't it?
SAR?
Yeah, yeah. It, for whatever reason, and those were the pretty much the words that I didn't know in there.
Yeah.
And there was one other one, but I mean, it was repeated enough, in the readings that it's just trying to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the memory isn't quite what it used to be. Words, particularly, sometimes I have to really kind of work to pull it back out. I know I know it, but it's like, you know,
I saw an article in the National Institutes of Health magazine one time. It was online, but it said that learning another language delays onset of Alzheimer's by about 30%.
well, I think it's very timely.
Well, I think about that, I mean, and I think if you make your head overheat, you avoid atrophy of your muscles by working your muscles hard, and it makes sense if you work your brain hard, you would
Yeah.
avoid
And
atrophy of your brain.
I think too, it is hard whenever you don't have a study partner.
Yeah.
Partly because you're bouncing it off of somebody else, but it makes you more disciplined because you're accountable.
You want to be ready for the next class.
That too.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Jack. Joel.
Hello, Peter.
Hey, Joel. Hey, Joel. This is Ann. And
Hello.
And Joel is the guy that first got me clued into Zoom because he got a guy named Don Schultz started on Zoom, and that's how we got the idea of the class. Welcome, Joel.
Good morning. Hi.
It's
Hello.
very good to meet you.
Nice to be here. Forgive me.
I was just about to say, Ann and I, Kellen and I were just talking. Oh, by the way, Joel, this is my son, Kellen.
Hello, Kellen.
Hi.
Ann and us, we were just talking about how it helps to have regular study partner, and I was when you came on, I was just about to say, well, maybe when this class grows, we'll have more opportunities for people to study. Joel, as you know, this Zoom, it's available. The number that you called in on, it's available. So if you do have somebody you want to do a class with, on a regular basis, and you don't have your own Zoom, you can use this, because I pretty much only use this on Sunday morning.
Right
But it's available all the time.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So this is our logo here because.
Hi, Softa.
Hi, Sapta.
Good morning, Susan.
And Zach's not going to make it today. He's going to a church service. Zach lives in Austin, Texas, and he won't be with us.
Oh, okay.
Getting to the DNA of the meaning of the Bible. The Bible's in, yeah.
Did you do screen share?
Yeah, you guys can see this, right?
Yes.
DNA? Thanks. Kellen's my producer, and he was just asking me that.
We do see the
Wait,
slides
what do you?
on the side. You know, I think it's not in your presenter view. It's,
Yeah.
All we see is the blue thing.
Let me enlarge it. Hebrew, the Bible's written in Hebrew, and by learning Hebrew, we can find out the little pieces in the detail behind what's written. So there, how's that?
that's better.
Okay,
Perfect.
all right. All right. Joel, you want to do the Shema?
Oh, in Hebrew?
Yeah. Well, there's transliteration there. Okay. Have you used transliteration before?
I can't say I have. No, completely new.
Okay, so the cool thing about transliteration is and we'll have it more later, but it's English words that sound like Hebrew. So, like here under the "Hear, O Israel," see it says Shema Yisrael, and that's just how it would sound if you were to pronounce the Hebrew. I do recommend transliteration. Danny Benguigui, you'll see later, is one of the things we use, and there's other ways to get it. But so give it a shot. I mean, we've all been where you are, so let's give it a shot.
All right. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Lo'olam Vayed.
Whoa.
Good job.
Good.
Someone had told me an Israeli guy was going to read the Shema, and I didn't know it was you. I would have believed them. That sounded. What were you saying, Ann?
That was very good.
Yeah,
Because
that was good.
he had some of the other nuances that a lot of people don't understand, even when they're seeing the transliteration.
Exactly. That's the beauty of transliteration. Okay, this is a chart. I'll send this to you, Joel, and so this will. Oh, you know how this works. This comes up in your chat. So this is conjugation chart, and what it does. What Hebrew does is, there you have it. Instead of a bunch of different words for different meanings, Hebrew will take a single root and conjugate it different ways. So, for example, if we have the word come, that means one thing. If we cause something to come, then we bring it. And in Hebrew, instead of using two different words, come and bring, they'll take the word bo, which means to come, and then put it in the he-fil form, which is here, the causative form. And that means to cause to come or to bring. So Hebrew with fewer root words can accomplish all the different meanings by conjugating the roots differently. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Kellen?
Do you think there's a way to pick Joel without sending the same thing to everybody every week?
No, I don't think so. I think, but people don't have to download it if they already have it.
True. Okay.
All right, so I'm sending a couple other things out here you can look at and see if you like them later. All right. Oh, I am also sending you a chart. this is too much for right away, but you can handle it.
Thank you.
If it's too much, just ignore it. Okay, this is a chart on conjugation. This would be a lot for you right now, Joel, but I'll just give you an idea. On the right here is I masculine, I feminine, you singular, masculine, etc., all the way down to they, which is plural, masculine and feminine.
Wow.
And the different ways that the root word cigar, which means to close or secure, the ways it's conjugated. Now, the cool thing about this is when you're reading Hebrew, you'll see like a na on the end of a word, or a sogrot, an ot on the end of a word. And you're wondering, or a tav at the beginning, or a yod at the beginning, and it's very confusing. You can see in the English translation what it means, but how it went from the tav or the yod or the na or the u to the English translation is really confusing. And this chart spells it all out. Kellen and I are taking modern Hebrew, and our teacher had us memorize this, and it's been really, really helpful. A little more advanced for you right now. Okay, so last week I talked about we discovered the Holy Grail of Hebrew study, and so I made a Facebook post about it, and it's great, yeah, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. All right, Zach isn't going to be here, but Zach really likes the PL, that chart with the candles on top like the menorah. PL is intensive active. I saw this and thought of Zach this week. It's the most flexible in its use of all the various stems. It can express simple action, intensive action, resultative action, causative action, or other kinds of action. And then here's the word blessed, which is ashar or ashrei. And it's almost always in the PL form, an intensive active blessing. Okay. All right. So Joel, remember I talked at the beginning about the DNA, right? Like kind of like examining the very building blocks of Scripture, okay?
Right.
So here is how one Hebrew word of 7 letters gets translated into 7 English words, okay? So Hebrew is very efficient, okay? So now I think of the people that are on right now, only Anne and Kellen would be able to do this. Anne, do you want to do it, or you want Kellen to do it?
I'd prefer Kellen to do it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, all right. So this is a verse from Isaiah talking about the king of Assyria and his general attacking Jerusalem, and God is going to take care of this this problem. So we've got the word down here, vehipalti. So it's vav he pe lamed tav yod vav. Yes, Kellen.
Okay, so can I try to translate?
Yeah. So I'm going to do it a little piece at a time here. So here's the vav right there. And Kellen, what's the vav? So the vav, I'm going to take this letter by letter from right to left, and Kellen can tell us what the letters each mean as we go. Okay, go ahead, Kellen.
Vav means and.
All right.
The hey is causative. Right?
So remember in our chart, the causative, so it can actually, and it is in this verse, in this version, actually translated, that hey is actually translated will cause, partly because it's the hey, which is causative, but also because it's at the beginning of the root, and that makes it imperfect. It's going to happen.
Okay, that's the root, and I'm not sure what the root is.
The root is nafal, which means to fall. And they dropped the noon, so you just have the pei and the lamed there, but it means to fall.
To fall.
This is a problem with my PowerPoint right here. It's supposed to be the tav and yod next to each other. What does that mean?
Not sure.
That means I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And then the last thing is
The vav, which is him.
him. So at the beginning, the vav meant and. At the end, it means him. Joel, is your head overheating yet?
Yes. Wow. So the scripture the reading begins not only left to right but from bottom up, or that's the last line.
Yeah, that's right. That's the last line. Right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and when people say, "Oh, so Hebrew's backward," I point out that Hebrew's 3,000 years older than English. So, in fact, there's a book called the Books and the Parchments by F.F. Bruce, and he says that Hebrew was right to left, is right to left. The first Greek was right to left. And then Greek switched to something called boustrophodon. Not really sure how you pronounce that. I can spell it, but I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But it means as an ox treadeth. So it would go right to left, left to right, like that. And then Greek switched to left to right. Latin came from Greek, and English came from Latin and Greek. So that's why English is left to right. But Greek started out right to left, like Hebrew. Okay. So altogether, these 7 letters translate into, and I will cause him to fall, just from one word. Does that sound challenging enough, Joel?
Wow.
Yeah, so when you read it, like this is a screenshot from my phone. So I'll have the Hebrew on one side and the English on the other. When you're first reading it and you say, wow, here's this word, Behipaltiv, and it's, how in the world do they get 7 words from that one word? But as time goes on, you kind of figure it out. Okay, that's all for now on that. So now we'll go to our Torah portion. And so what we do here, let me move that around. Okay. So Joel, up here at the top is something called Danny Ben Gigi and Hebrew English Phonetic Bible. And this is how Kellen and I both learned how to read. And what he does is he has, like, here's verse 2 of Numbers chapter 30. Here's the English, the Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, which no one here is really studying right now, but it's on the CD. And then the transliteration. Now you can also get transliteration for free. That Danny Ben Gigi is about $40. But if you go to Bible Hub, let's see. I've got my my thing in the way, so I got to move it so I can do this correctly. All right, BibleHub.com. And you take a verse and All right, so here's Numbers 30. But if you do the interlinear, click on the interlinear, then you'll get the Hebrew. Open book by book handouts. Anyway, dig around in there. I don't really use this. I just found out about this a few weeks ago, but this actually has transliteration. It's different from Danny Ben-Gigi's transliteration. He uses English words. Bible Hub uses the standard academic formula, which you have to learn. It's a little confusing. So this is $40. Bible Hub is free, and it explains exactly. So here, for example, Numbers chapter 30, verse 2, Vayedaber, and you see it's Vayedaber in the transliteration right there. And then Moshe. Okay, just like you did for the Shema, okay? Anne, you want to read this verse?
Okay. Vaydaber Moshe el Rashi Hamatot Livnei Yisrael Lemor Ze Hadaber. And I think you need to scroll it up.
Sorry, I was okay.
Let's see, Hadaber. Okay, Asher Ziva Adonai.
Okay, and this one again?
Vaydabar. I think I said Vaydaber, but it's Vaydabar. No, excuse me. Hadaber.
Davar, yeah. Okay, good. Okay, and go ahead and translate.
Okay, let's see. And he said, Moses, unto the heads of the tribes of the sons or the children of Israel, saying, this or these are the words that commanded the Lord.
Good, okay. Joel, what is going through your head right now?
I'm just trying to figure out why it says number 2 up here on top of the screen. So I figure that's verse 2, and I'm figuring that's Numbers 30 verse 2, but the actual translation in English was different. Oh, it's because it's not scrolled all the way. I got it. Yeah, I'm looking at the end of it where you're at on top of it. We're good.
Is that better? Oh,
Yeah.
Wait. There. Is that better? Oh, there we go. Thank you. There. Wait. Oh,
I think it's the English.
That's
the English
right. Yeah.
And the Hebrew translation are two different.
That's what's going on. Sometimes the Hebrew and English numbering is not the same. So when Anne was translating, she was translating directly from the Hebrew, but the numbers are, so the Hebrew verse is 2, the English verse is 1, and
Gotcha.
It kind of, the English numbering kind of makes sense here. Either way, and sometimes they're off by like 8 verses or more, sometimes a chapter, but usually they're the same.
Right on.
Yeah, thanks. Well, anything else? Any other comments?
No, I'm just listening. I think I have to listen and see how the E, if the pronunciation of the E is consistent in the A's, and if any of the letters change it. I think just listening and watching the word and listening to you is what I'm thinking seems safe right now.
Okay, let me show you something else here. If we go to this is my website, TorahInMyHeart.com. If you go to TorahInMyHeart.com and you go to the Hebrew page, and it says read Torah in Hebrew. So you click on Read Torah in Hebrew. You get this button, click the button, and then that downloads a file. So this is a text lesson on how to read Torah in Hebrew. So it's a 6-page thing. It talks about, here's the alphabet chart. Here's how the consonants and the vowels work together. How you pronounce a syllable and then a word. And then the different tools we use. Like Blue Letter Bible is a free resource. It's pretty good. And then this is BHS. This is the Accordance. Accordance Bible is a free app. And what we're using today, what you saw Anne reading from, it has all the grammar for every word in Tanakh. And because that's a lot of work, that app costs $109. But you can see the Hebrew for free on Blue Letter Bible, and there's a lot of resources. You can hear the root word pronounced. You can look up the root word. You can see the English. Now, you can also do that with Bible Hub and see the transliteration. It's a lot of parts, right? It's a lot of parts.
Yes.
The Accordance gives you a free ESV with Strong, so you can look up the root word and see what the root word is. Anne says she wishes she had known about the BHS when she first started. That's $109, but it's and then the Holy Grail that I've been talking about is I'll show you. I know we're overloading you right now.
It's cool.
Sympathize. We've all been there. Okay, so let's see. All right. This is the way my screen looks when I read. And so I've got the Hebrew on one side, that's the BHS. And on the other side, I've got the Hebrew audio I just got recently. The Hebrew audio, if you just tap the verse itself, will give you the English. So on one page, I've got the English translation, the Hebrew, and I can listen to it being pronounced. So the Hebrew audio is $60. So what you're looking at right there is $159, but it's like crazy. It's everything. And then if you hold down one word like Av here, it gives you the grammar for that word. So anyway, that's an investment you may or may not want to make. You might want to wait for that. If you want to wait, in the meantime, you can use Blue Letter Bible. If you want to jump in, you can jump in with Accordance.
Nice.
So this talks about it. Now also, we'll come out of here for a second. If you go to the videos page of TorahInMyHeart.com, there's a video. You come down here to learn to read Hebrew Torah. And there's the text, which we just showed you. And there's also a video. The video follows the text. So if you print out the text or you have the text on another screen and then watch this video, then this will explain, it explains the whole thing that we just, text version that I just showed you.
Nice.
So.
That's the easy way, but I imagine.
Okay, so that's us talking about that. So it explains the whole thing. All right. Is this making any sense?
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. I apologize for not checking that out first. I've been meaning to come in for a while, and I looked at the time. I was in bed, and I just got to get up and do it. I've been trying to get here for a couple months, and
Welcome. We're glad to have
thanks.
you.
I had a couple of people asking me about Hebrew classes. I've got my own kind of just this Bible reading group that I got on the side, and yeah, we get to words, and we just it always comes down to every other translation uses a different word, and just it could mean this if it's that one. You guys know the thing, and they were asking me, and I figured, I better come. I better make it in here.
Hey, whatever works. Glad to have you. That's a good motivation, being in a Bible study and wanting to know what the words mean. That's good.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. This time we'll have Kellen read verse 3.
איש כי ידור נדר לאדוני, או השווה שבועה לאסור איסר על נפשו, לא
You're not
יחל.
showing the verse.
Yeah, it's the same. I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. Okay. My wife is saying I didn't put the transliteration up there. Hey, Kellen. Yeah, go ahead and start over.
Okay. איש כי ידור נדר לאדוני, או השווה שבועה לאסור איסר על נפשו, לא יחל דברו ככל היוצא מפיו יעשה. If a man performs a vow to Hashem, or swears an oath, or he makes an oath on his soul, he shall not break his word, and all which comes out of his mouth he shall do.
All right, good. All right, so ish, man, that, or translated here, if he vows a vow. So let me move this out of the way. All right, so here you see Yidor, and on the far right is Instant Details. That's the BHS, that's the expensive program we're looking at. So it says Nadar is the root, and Nadar is to vow. And you see it's a third person masculine singular. That's because of the yod. And this is all stuff you pick up over time. But so if it basically means if he vows, and then neder. Now this is a noun, but you see it's from the same root. Yidor, neder. So if he vows a vow, verb, noun. When we see the divine name of God, which is Yod He Vav He, we don't try to pronounce it like Nehemiah Gordon or something. We just say Adonai or Hashem. And that's because Kellen and I are interested in communicating with Jewish people, and they take serious offense if you try to pronounce it. So that's where we're coming from. O Hishava. Or, now remember earlier we talked about the causative, that the hey making it causative. So it's not always causative with the hey, and here it's the chirik. I know I'm talking over your head, Joel, right now, but this is also for and.
No, thank you. Yeah, don't worry about me. Okay. Great being here.
It's also good too to kind of feel your brain smoking. It's good. So the chirik vowel, the he, is an indication of nifal, and that's what it is here. It's nifal, which is passive. So if he swears, kind of interesting that it's passive. And then again, the root here is shava, he shava, and then shavua, both from the same root, shava to swear, but this one being to swear, and this one, or to pledge, and this one being the oath itself. So verb and noun. And again, we see it again a third time in this verse. Esor isar. So to bind, a pledge, and they're both the same. This is what Anne was talking about at the beginning of class. Asar and Shava, or neder. She was talking about neder at the
Well,
beginning.
there were a couple of the words that.
Yeah. And this is pretty unusual, a verse where you see verb, noun, same root, verb, noun, same root, verb, noun, same root. That's pretty unusual. I can't think of another verse where I've ever seen verb, noun,
Yeah, I don't think I have seen that either.
Yeah. Al nafsho. If he makes this pledge on his soul or himself. So the ESV, which is the middle translation, says himself, and the Young's literal says on his soul, which is what it literally says. That's why I like Young's gives the very much the literal translation. Yeah. Also, you see on the instant details, nephesh, the soul. It says it's both, meaning it could be masculine or feminine. I've never seen it masculine. I'll take their word for it. It can be masculine, but the nephesh is pretty much always feminine.
Well, isn't this masculine right here? His soul?
It's his feminine soul. Yeah. So, that debate about the Bible using masculine nouns, well, guess what? Everybody's soul is feminine, so end of debate. Lo yachel. This is an interesting word. The root is halal, which can mean to profane or to begin. And here it's translated break. It can also mean, because of the profane, it can, a noun from it is like corpses. Yeah, so devaro.
So whatever he's doing right here, he breaks his word, it's not.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It's profaning. Yeah. See, Young's, so ESV highlighted break his word, but over in Young's, he does not pollute his word. That's why I like Young's. If you're reading, you're beginning to figure out the Hebrew, and you have the ESV, the free ESV translation from Accordance right there, and you go, well, I thought halal meant to pollute or profane or begin. How do they get break? And then you look at Young's, he says, he doth not pollute his word. And he's like, yay! So Young's is good for that. Okay. Devaro, his word, according to all hayotse, all that goes out, yatsa, goes out from his mouth. All right, so Joel, what we're looking at here is the first thing you do when you learn Hebrew is you learn root words, like basic words like ish. And then you begin to learn words like nadar, the root nadar, which can be a verb or a noun, Hashem or Adonai, Shavah, to swear. And like there's lists online of the 100 most common root words, the 500 most common. There's all kinds of resources on the web. Basically, it takes a long time. It takes a lot of work. And how many hours would you think you've put into this?
You mean overall?
Yeah.
Well, I've been trying to grasp all of this over what, probably 4 years, 4.5 years.
Hmm.
And in the beginning, I mean, it was really intensive. It seemed like every waking hour that I wasn't at work. Less so now, but what I'm trying to struggle with now is to understand, and recognize the root words. And I don't. I need to hit that harder, and that's part of the issue is, when I was talking earlier about the nader and the isar,
Yeah.
those words to me, I think the reason I struggle with it here is because they're almost the same meaning to me, vow
Right.
and oath. And so I was getting them confused.
Right.
But yeah, it's countless hours. And still, I don't yet know all of the root words, and that's probably where I need to really hit it harder and recognize those better. Yeah.
Joel, what Kellen and I both did, me first, and then I knew how to read Hebrew when Kellen started. So Susan taught Kellen how to read English when he was 6, and I taught him how to read Hebrew when he was 7, and he's 12 now, so he's been doing it about almost 6 years. It's about to turn 13, and what we both did was we used Danny Ben-Gigi because we didn't have anybody around that knew how to, there's nobody we knew that was learning Hebrew. And how do you pronounce it correctly, right? So as you did with the Shema, you pronounced it perfectly just from the transliteration. So here, you're looking at this verse down here, and it looks like no really different to you now from Greek or Arabic. I mean, it's just horribly confusing. But then, here's a transliteration, and boom, you can pronounce it like a native. Well, so what I would do is I would take Ben-Gigi and print up. It comes on a page. It's viewed as a PDF on a page at a time. And I would print up pages for Kellen. He would study it, and then I would take a sheet of paper and block out everything except the Hebrew and have him read and translate to me after studying it. And he would be able to do that after studying it. And then we'd go to the next verse, block out everything but the Hebrew, and he would be able to do that. And then it's just a process of doing that over and over. So I used Danny Ben-Gigi for about 2 years to get to where I got confident, and that was about 10 to 20 hours a week, and
Wow.
Reading the entire Torah portion each week. Very hard. I like to tell people I tore my hair out doing that. And it's actually true. So, it's not easy, and I never tell people it's easy. The process is simple. Once you learn the alphabet, and if you look at that text chart, the text lesson and the video, the process is simple. You take Aleph. The Aleph, the first letter there, is silent. The Chiric vowel is E. So a silent letter with the vowel E, guess how that's pronounced?
I don't know.
E. And then the Yod, that just kind of keeps the same E sound. And then this letter here is called the Shin. It's sh. So remember when you were learning, I don't know if you remember when you were learning English phonics, but it was the same process. You take a consonant, in this case silent consonant, the vowel E, and the consonant that has the sh sound. So you go E, I remember when one of our sons, he could not get it. It was our first son. It was our first experience homeschooling, and I remember him saying cat, and he'd go cat, cat, and we're like cat. And he's like cat, cat.
No, it was worse than that because he would all three sounds, are separate. So it was always cat, cat.
And you're like, no, just say cat. But this is the same process. It's Anne,
Uh-huh.
break it down like that consonant and vowel for Joel on this word.
You mean the sounds?
Yeah.
Okay. It would be he shava. Hishva.
Yeah, and that's that little dot there is the same vowel as up here. It's the E sound. And then the new vowel for you, Joel, it looks like a little T, and the one that looks like a line. And Danny Ben-Gigi, he simplifies the transliteration. There's little differences between these, but he just simplifies them. So in his transliteration, he'll just say Shava, and that's good enough. See, it's right here. He Shava, just like Anne said. So with the Danny Ben-Gigi, which is like $40, and then the free Accordance Bible with free ESV with Strong's, which tells you the root word. That's how Kellen and I learned. And you can skip the $40 if you go to Bible Hub. That's a trickier transliteration, but once you learn it, you learn it. All right. So now Susan, verse 4.
Okay. Ve'isha ki tidor neder la Adonai ve'azra isar bevet aviha bin ureha.
Good. Go and translate.
Is it verse 4 down below that I don't see?
No, it's verse 3. It's off by a verse.
How are you supposed to know that?
Well, the app matches them up, like Accordance will match them up.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. If a woman vows a vow to the Lord and binds herself by a pledge while within her father's house in her youth.
Okay, good. All right, I'll do verse 5. Okay. Veshama aviha et.
You're not showing verse 5.
Sorry. All right. Veshama aviha et nidra ve'esara asher asra al nafsha vehecherish la aviha ve'kamu kol nedareha ve'chal isar asher asra al nafsha yakum. And he hears her father. So Shema, like Joel, you said at the beginning, Shema Yisrael, hear Israel. That was the same word there, Shema. Aviha, Av is father. Av is the first word in a Hebrew dictionary because it's the first letter Aleph followed by the second letter Beit. There's no word that comes before that. So Avi, and then the Hey suffix makes it her father. So Aviha, that one word translates into her father. This Et here points to the direct object. Et nidra. What does he hear, her father? The direct object, the thing that he hears is her vow. So her father hears her vow. And and she has bound herself with the pledge on her soul. Remember we talked about nefesh. Last time it was nafsho. That was his nefesh, his soul. Here it's nafsha. That's her nefesh, her soul. So that hey there makes it, that hey on the end makes it her soul. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Confusing, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, we can all relate to how you're feeling right now. Anytime we get feeling like we haven't learned anything, all we have to do is look at a page of Arabic and go, oh my goodness, we have learned a lot. And he remains silent. Kharash is he doesn't say anything toward her father. Then it shall stand all of her vow, which she has bound herself which she has bound upon her soul, shall stand. It shall stand. Anne, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Yakum right here.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Kum is stand, isn't it?
Right. And the yod means what?
Like it will stand,
Yeah.
or will stand, or
What'd you say after you said it?
Or he.
He,
You know.
right. So Joel, Hebrew doesn't have a neuter like we have it.
Can you put your highlighter thing on that word that you're talking about?
There.
Yeah.
Thank you, Susan. So it's either masculine or feminine. Now we would say it will stand if we were going to use a pronoun, but Hebrew doesn't have neuter. Now, because it's masculine, like Anne just said, the yod makes it masculine. And what is it referring to that's masculine?
I would think that it's the pledge or the vow.
Okay, so it's the pledge or the vow.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll take a look. Here's the pledge, and you see in the instant details it is masculine.
Mm-hmm.
And how about this one, the neder, also masculine. So
right.
Every vow or every pledge, both of them are masculine. I guess you could say every one because this is singular. So he shall stand literally, but we would say it in English. All right, so the vow or the pledge. The cool thing, Joel, is that Hebrew is much more precise than English. In English, we don't have a masculine or feminine for pledge or vow. And we just say it will stand. But the Hebrew is masculine, so you know it's referring to something masculine back here. And the Hebrew is actually much more precise than the English. It's funny because it's so much older, you would think that it would be more primitive, but it's actually more precise.
Interesting. So when you see the masculine or the feminine thing repeated, that means they're connected?
They have to be connected, yeah.
Wow.
And it also helps with nouns and adjectives that, like we'll say the black dog. In Hebrew, it would be dog black. The the adjective comes after the noun, but the adjective has to match the gender of the noun.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it helps when you're reading to see that connection. It's part of the decoding. We like to say, do you see why we use the DNA, the decoding?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you see a person and, you know, you see Kellen, but then you begin to see, like, here's Kellen's head and here's his arms and his body. And then you go down more and there's like skin and tissue, and you go down more and there's like, you know, molecules, DNA. And so that's what we're doing. Instead of just like, oh, there's the Bible. And then like in your class, your Bible study, it's like, well, here's the arms and the head, and this is what it means. But now we're going down into into the DNA. Yeah. And you should expect that to be a lot of work. Of course, it's going to be a lot of work to get that detail and to figure out how Hebrew became English. Okay, so Joel, this is your first verse.
Okay.
So I put the Danny McGeegee on the top, and so go ahead.
Ve'im hinai aviha ota biyom shomo kol ne dareha ve'isareha asher asra al nafesha lo yakum va'adonai yislak la ki heni aviha ota.
Hey, is it just me, or does he kind of sound like he has a Hebrew accent? What's going on here?
Me too.
You think so too?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, Joel, but you kind of sound like, what, do you listen to a lot of Hebrew music or something, or?
No, whenever whenever I approach another language besides English, I remember as I grew up speaking Spanish and English, and I remember for some reason going between one and the other, especially going away from English, is to always loosen my mouth up, because I remember trying to teach people Spanish, and I always found that they always tightened up their mouth, whether because they were nervous or maybe just the English language the pronunciation is that much stronger. So I always, no matter what language it is, I always try to just remember to loosen my mouth to relax it. And it seems like things come out a little bit better. And thank God people tell me like, oh, wow, people will say that sometimes to me. Oh, you said it right, even with whatever language. But I think it's just the relaxing of the mouth, the muscles in the mouth.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I've never.
Wish I'd heard that about 7-8 years ago. So. Okay. All right. We're drawing to the end here, so we'll go to our closing prayer. So on that list of videos, I'm trying to go down here. On that videos page, there's right at the top is a couple videos about this prayer. This is the Avinu, the Lord's Prayer. And if you go to this website, aprayertoourfather.com, and then click on media, click on audio, click on learn the prayer in Hebrew. So media and audio are the two ones to remember. Aprayertoourfather.com. They pronounce each word here and also show you transliteration. So so Susan, I'm not going to ask Susan to do this because there's no transliteration here. I want to ask Joel to do it. I think I had Ann do it pretty recently. So I'll do it this time. And I'll just put my cursor by the word. Avinu Shebashamayim Yit Kadesh Shimcha Veyit Parech Malchutcha ורצונך יהיה עשוי בשמיים ובארץ. ותיתן לחמנו תמידית, ומחול לנו חטאותינו, כאשר אנחנו מחלים לחוטאים לנו, ואל תביאנו לידי ניסיון, ושמרנו מכל רע. Amen. I'm not going to translate that because you all know what it is anyway, but and you can see that at the prayertourfather.com. That's a good way of learning the consonants and the vowels and you hear it pronounced by Keith Johnson. So that's a good one. All right. I found out some interesting things about the earth this week. I'll just sum it up by saying when you see aretz in Hebrew, it's almost always referring to the land of Israel. Sometimes the earth, but usually the land of Israel. And the reason I was thinking about that is because in the prayer it says, your kingdom come, your will be done on the aretz, on the land as it is in heaven. And until this week, I always thought the Lord's Prayer was about the earth, and of course it is. But the people that would have heard it, their primary understanding at the time probably would have been, the land of Israel. That's what they would have heard. It's interesting to be able to think about as you learn Hebrew, Joel, you'll begin to understand things the way people would have understood it back in the day. And there's reasons for that. Like even today, Orthodox Jews will memorize Torah, the first 5 books. And so when you come across a word, it's a very unusual word. If you have it memorized, you're going to connect it to that other verse. And it's kind of like the hyperlinks of Torah. It illuminates by having these connections. Illuminates. Now I don't have it memorized, but you'll see unusual words and you can figure out, wait, with a concordance, where does that word happen? And it illuminates these other passages. And this is the way that when people heard Torah 2,000, 3,000 years ago, this would have been happening in their head. So it's kind of like taking a trip back in your mind. All right, so next week we just finished the book of Deuteronomy. So next week, Numbers. Thank you. Kellen keeps me on track. We just finished the book of Numbers. Next week begins the book of Deuteronomy. The Torah portion, Devarim, which means Deuteronomy, means words. Well, Deuteronomy means the law again, but they're both titles for the book. Devarim. What's your plan, Joel, for this coming week?
Yeah, I'll probably go online and pick up some of those materials. I watched the introductory video. As I have to go back and I've got to go back and just refresh my mind, even just what the meanings of the words in English are to describe the different functions of the language, right? It's just that I got to define the definitions here in order to see what's being talked about. But yeah, God permitting. Yeah. So God permitting, we'll see you guys here. Because I've been starting to point people over here your way, and I figure, well, I better get going because I've been meaning to come here for a while, and now I can go back to the group and tell them what it's like a little better.
Great, yeah. And on that videos page, there's like songs with lyrics at the bottom. Lots of ways to learn. Yeah. Thank you for joining us today, Joel.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us,
Nice to be
Anne
here.
and Sakta. Zach says he'll be back next week. That'd be good. And so, there's a Hebrew expression. It's lehitraot, and that means till I see you. So lehitraot.
Hitraot.
Lehitraot.
Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Hey.